What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Vocal Fry Podcast. I'm Drew here with my wife, Layla.
Good evening.
In this podcast, we like to talk about things, the current events and all the propaganda and politics and all that, but from more of the psychological perspective, among other things.
I hope you like our art.
Art, baby.
Drew wouldn't even touch the McDonald's French fries with his hands. He put gloves on.
It's true. I went and bought a pack of McDonald's fries to make that, and I was like, man, I bet I won't be able to resist eating them in the car on the way home, and they just smelled so awful in the car on the way home. And then I got them home, and I was just looking at them like, what are these things? And I put on gloves, and they were just like completely saturated in grease by the time I was like done doing this. It was disgusting.
It was disgusting, but it's a beautiful picture.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I had to squirt ketchup in a Ziploc bag and cut the end and squirt it out like a cake decorator.
Work with what you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you want to talk about this week?
We can freestyle because
I know
this has been the most tired month of my life. So.
Before you were talking about kind of, you wanted to get into like talking about like how the symbols and stuff, like something about like how the symbols can overtake people and you can become not susceptible to the symbols and stuff.
Yeah, you're talking about symbols in the occult media.
Yeah, and how like truthers are scared of them and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Let's go there, but before we do that, there's been a secret war waging in the house, and we've never brought it up. I waited until the live stream, even though you guys see this pre-recorded. I waited for the live stream to bring it up. There's been a secret war waging in the house.
Okay.
And it's time to address it.
Okay. Let's do it.
We're going to air out our grievances here live. She looks nervous. You always put the toilet paper going under. It goes over. You guys let us know in the chat. Is it over or under on the toilet paper?
Do I really do that? Because I don't have a preference.
No,
I know
100% always do it under.
100% always?
Always.
Wow. See, I didn't know that.
And the paper towels.
No way.
Yeah, I think under is only if you have like a cat, and then the cat like rolls it.
Can't paw it.
Otherwise, I think it's over. I think it's just...
See, that's funny because I don't get the toilet paper and think, oh man, this has to go this way.
But you
like
must,
I just
because
put
every time
subconsciously, I must be programmed somehow to put the toilet paper that way.
To go under.
My whole life just got blown. Like my whole mind is just blown.
I'll switch it on you sometimes. I don't know if you notice.
I probably wouldn't, because maybe I would. Maybe I'd feel a disturbance.
The disturbance in the force.
In the force. I can't use this.
All right, well, we'll see. We're going to ask everyone commenting, is it over or under on toilet paper towel rolls?
Or is it not something you think about? Because it's not something I think about. I know people get...
You must, though, because it's always the same. Like you said, maybe it's subconsciously or something.
That's funny. But,
Let's see. Oh, there's a meme of it. It says...
Ooh.
Oh, the correct way is over. It says why? Because under vastly increases the possibility that food poisoning bacteria will spread from the restroom.
Wait. Which way do I put it? Under or over?
You do under.
Oh, so I'm trying to poison us. I see.
According to science, it's science, so it's
science.
Indisputable. Dear Abby, it even says, man, according to science. Oh, man, we got to see this. It's E. coli. If it's under, there's a good chance the fingernails will brush the wall as well. Who are these people with their, like, bare hands? I don't know. Well, we'll get to the bottom of this, but let's get into the signs and symbols that rule the world.
I do want to talk about that, but since you brought up toilet paper, have you ever spoken about it on stream, about the type of people that come out on the weekend as opposed to the people, like the cubicle people who can only shop on the weekend? Because grocery shopping, we noticed that the toilet paper is only completely bought out when the cubicle workers that only shop on the weekend come out and they're like a different kind of person.
I did notice that working at the club warehouse for all those years, there was like the Monday through Friday people, and it wasn't that bad. And Saturday and Sunday were completely different types of people, and they're very much the type of like absent-minded people that are like can't figure out the type of person that can't figure out how to pay. They they get up there, you tell them the total, they're spacing out, they don't know where their wallet is now, and they're like, it's that kind of the Monday through Friday shopper was more like in and out. They were ready to go and get in and out.
Yeah, I think that's like a weird phenomenon, and I noticed that, and it seems like they must be so mentally on autopilot and burnt out from their job. Yeah, let's see it.
Cubicle workers, yeah, that's.
Yeah, look at it. Oh man.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, I think it's these people
And they stare at the screen
Monday
all
through
day.
Friday all day, and then they time to restock and go shopping and stuff is on the weekend. But they're always just like this, I would think. And not necessarily just cubicle, but like Monday through Friday, just the grinders, 50 hours a week or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And they have no time to like think or anything, and then they're way more like I don't want to say unhinged, but like I don't know how to say it. Way more like just beast like in the store,
Look, it says on the bottom, soul crushing cubicles.
Oh yeah.
See, that's what it is, because these jobs purposely overwork you to the point of burnout. So they probably can't even walk into a store and remember how to pay because they're so depleted at that point. Like, the jobs that we work are really designed and set up to do this. You're not supposed to be sitting at a desk all day. You're supposed to be doing physical stuff.
And there's no like face-to-face interaction either. It's all you're just like in your little partition.
Yeah. It's isolating.
Everything's an email or a phone call or something.
Yeah, not good for you.
Well, and then the corporate tried to address that with now everything's like an open office policy. That's the new thing. So they all want to be Apple, and it's like now it's like this,
Yeah.
But now they're all like this. So they all have a laptop, and then because then one company did it, and then they all have like the scream rooms too, where it's like you go to cry in there and everything.
They can do this, but they can't pay their people more.
Yeah, exactly. I like to watch a guy on YouTube called Joshua Fluke, and he talks about that a lot, like how these companies will spend, $150,000 to renovate their office and make it look like this, but then if you ask for like 1% raise, they're like appalled.
Oh,
and then they keep these people, they keep them under check by pushing the idea of like the company family. This is a company family and everything like that. Even though they'll let you go in a heartbeat, and they do, they do let them go. There's tons of calls that get leaked where they just lay off, 700 people or whatever like that. And then the people go back on LinkedIn and they're like kind of groveling for a job back. They say, I'll always be part of this family and blah, blah. It's not your family if they just kicked you out. And
Oh, yeah, they treat you like garbage.
But then they push that company family thing to get you to like, take less money or whatever. Or to basically like the settle for perks, which are like tax write-offs, instead of just paying more money.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
You see what it says, who invented them. I'm not sure. They were calling this office the future 25 years ago.
No.
The dumbest management fad of all time, nearing its final days. And now the other thing, too, is because of COVID, then everyone did online work. And then all of a sudden now they want you to come back in.
Oh, yeah, and most people can do the same thing.
Yeah, they proved they can do the job from home, and now they want you to come back into the office because at the same time, because then they don't need the office building anymore, which is like, that's their real estate holding for the company portfolio. Yes. They don't need that anymore if you don't come in, so they want you to come in. So because of COVID, you didn't have to come in, and now because of COVID, you do have to come in.
Everything is because of COVID.
Yeah, anything and everything, you can just say COVID.
Yeah, well, on the upside, people can't say anything to you at that point if they want to play that game.
But also the thing with the open office thing was more like, it's more distracting because these people are over here next to you, doing, and then they promote this like play like, oh, we're the fun company. We play Nerf football catch in the middle of the day and blah, blah, you know what I mean? And then
Yeah,
you're just trying to do some work and these people are throwing a Nerf football or something behind you. It's like,
that's not what you want to do at
distracting.
work.
no, just pay the people more money. Let them work from home, really. Like, if they can do the job 100% from home,
Your building is obsolete at that point. It's
that's
just
why.
it's just a time waste for people. It's
Because,
all about the money and the power, though, and they need that.
and the tax write-offs, basically.
Yeah.
The portfolio. They need the building for the balance sheet, basically.
But it really does show you how pointless all of this stuff is. They have us living these lives that, we don't even know why we're doing half of the stuff we're doing, and we think it's normal, and it's not at all.
And then they'll give you this private room where you can talk in private, but it's like glass door and everyone can watch you and everything. Just let everyone work from home. It's 2022. It's the year 2022. No, that's the weakest argument, but I mean, COVID proved you don't need to be there.
Yeah.
COVID proved a lot of things, good and bad. It showed us where we were, I think, mentally
Yeah, it revealed what was already there,
and spiritually, I guess.
very much so.
These people are, like we were saying, with the cubicle, it's just spiritually dead. Automations.
Yeah, no life, no emotion, no creativity. Bland, lifeless.
It's tough, man. And so that's what we're saying basically, though. Is these are the people that, if you notice, that go out and shop on Saturday and Sunday, and when there's those huge mobs of people.
My goodness, look at the titles, though. It's just a thing. It's like most
it's
depressing cubicle. It's yeah.
Look at this. Just like a meat grinder. It's no different than when you see like the chickens on the conveyor belt and they're just getting
That's what it
grinded
reminds
up,
me of. Yes, there's no humanity in this. No wonder these people come out on the weekend and don't know how to function.
They'll knock you over for that
They've
last
been-
toilet paper,
Oh my god.
so they can put it rolled under
Yeah.
and piss their husband off. Oh man! All right, let's get into the signs and symbols that rule the world. And I know you wanted to talk about some of that.
Yeah, we can get into it. I honestly don't remember exactly what I wanted to get into with this, but
I remember you saying
can-
something about how basically like the truther gets scared of them and how there is a way to kind of get through that and not let it have a hold over you or whatever, something like that.
well, yeah, because that's really what this stuff is at the end of the day. It's something, let's see how I can explain it. It's something that's basically already existed that's been taken by somebody else, twisted, repurposed, or, they put black magic into it, whatever you want to call it, their intentions, and then use it against you. And it's an interaction. It's, I saw this definition of like what symbols are once that I don't necessarily know if I believe it's true. It was just a really interesting definition that was something to the effect of it's an electromagnetic like field, so to speak, that interacts with your electromagnetic field. Like I don't know if I necessarily believe that in that sense, but I think mentally what happens is pretty similar to that. Like you're giving this your attention and your energy, and obviously it means something, but it only means something like skull and bones. Like I see that one here, you see that one and you're like, oh yeah, that's an evil one. And oh, the Freemason one, yeah, that's an evil one. Okay, but it only has that effect on you because you're interacting with it. Like that's what these are designed to do. It's like a demon in a sense. These things exist in your, how would I have to say it? Like, I don't want to say dimension because that's a whole nother topic, but they exist alongside with you, but they don't, you're the one giving them life. You're interacting. As long as you're interacting, it's alive. If you don't do that, you can unplug from that.
This is IPS right here. This is the shout out to the Infinite Plane Society, Tim Osmond, hardest working man in the game. Why is he under the skull and bones? No,
But it goes on. Oh yeah. Oh, IPS is good. I hear him only when you play him, really, but
I like IPS.
yeah, I like him as well. But it works on the opposite end because you can use symbols to positively impact yourself, as kind of like reminders, like the crucifix in Christianity. That's a symbol.
What about this one, the Anti-Defecation League? Somebody said that in Jurassic's chat last night. I thought that was so funny.
That's good.
Sorry, but about the crucifix and everything too.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a little disorganized tonight. Like I said, it's the most like tired I've ever been ever. But
I'm wearing that ass out.
oh man. Yeah, but basically you can use them to positive effect, obviously. But
It's a
at the end of
tool,
the day,
basically.
yeah, it's a tool. But you don't need to have a crucifix in your house to pray to Jesus, to have a relationship with God in any sense. You don't have to be afraid of a number. You don't have to be afraid of a symbol. I mean, it's been taken by somebody else and repurposed. It's something that already existed. Why should it be used against you?
Yeah, I'm sure the people that use them aren't the people that made them. I'm sure there was
No.
a really good one. If you have more to say, I'm gonna see if I can find it. It might take me a minute, but somebody left a video once I saw where it was like how all the emojis are like the ancient like demonic sigils. I'm gonna see if I
was
can.
great.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can
Yeah.
pull that up if you want to keep talking because that kind of ties into what we're talking about here. I know it sounds crazy, but until you see it.
Yeah, and it kind of goes along with all those things of like they put certain events on certain dates to get you to put all your thoughts and energy and yourself into, that to make it grow. But that's the thing, they constantly need your interactions. And it's the way the algorithms work and the news works and all of the rest of it basically work in the same way, in my opinion. But I think it's worth disengaging, like, because that's the main thing. It just needs you to be engaged. Disengage, focus on yourself, focus on your inner life, your family, your relationships, yourself, your relationship with God, your spiritual self as well. And you don't need any of this. I mean,
Here's one of the maps here. I'm gonna see if I can make this bigger, but it's a video. But it's like, so they made all these like demonic sigils back in the day. There's a lot more to this, and obviously I can't play this video, but if you guys look it up, bro. By the time I upload this, I'll try to have the link to the one I'm talking about. I don't think this isn't the exact one I've seen before, but like these sigils were created a long time ago with intention behind them and everything like that, and then they get passed down, right, and used. And let's see if I can make this bigger somehow. Oh, there's the GoBot on Mars from last night. It's kind of probably gonna be hard to see. I'm gonna keep looking for that other video though, but
can
It's
you
like
leave
these
the
are
link for the video?
yeah, I already said I was
Oh,
gonna do
okay, good.
like this. See how you got the two eyes here almost, and like the mouth and kind of the horns coming out. Or this one's probably the wrap bandage one. I think it goes left to right. But I'm gonna find a better picture than this. But that's what I mean, think of it that way. They have all these like black magic sigils that they usurp. Most likely, right? They probably usurped this a long time ago and then start using it.
Yeah, and that's something I want to say about symbols too, and especially sigils in the sense of occult and magic is they're a way for people to identify with something that they feel is greater than themselves. And it's a way for people to feel powerful. So it's like, yeah, this sigil here is super powerful. And if you use it in this way with these numbers at this, season, you can manifest and create this and that. And it's going to give you power. That's not power.
This is it. Right here.
Oh,
This is
yeah,
the one
that
I
was
see.
brilliant.
Yeah, it's not power.
That's not power. It's not you. Like, oh yeah, they're the goetic.
Yeah, that's what it is. I couldn't think of
sigils.
the name. Yeah, the goetic symbol.
And this
Sigils.
is important because this is the key of Solomon, and this is what a lot of occultists use. And you see these people that claim they're witches and they're really powerful witches, and they do all these things, and they like even get hired out to do people's ritual work or spell work. These people have no personal power. they need that to come from an external source, which typically is not a good source. If you're using these kind of things, they'll make you feel powerful. They'll make you feel like you can do all these things. And then you'll have it in your head that you are some type of powerful warlock or witch. You're not. If you remove that, what do you have? You have nothing. It's not power. People use this as personal power. It has nothing to do with them. Like these type of spirits and things that you would mess with these sigils do not care about you. They don't even really mess with you. It's the same thing as it is with, like I said earlier, with the symbols. They need you as a conduit to come through you, manifest through you to do these things.
I'm just going to kind of toggle back and forth between these while we talk, because I think this is a good example for people to kind of see it.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot more like behind this when they made this code and stuff. If you go watch this video, it's presented with like a Muppet kind of, which makes it seem kind of almost nonsensical, but it's all fact pretty much. It's just hard for people to understand.
Yeah, it's a cool video. Definitely leave a comment about what, if you watch it, what you think about it, because I thought it was pretty cool. I normally don't get too into those type of things, but this is stuff that I used to really like back in the day, was the goetic seals, and I used to read about it and, practice a little bit of the stuff. I got into some weird stuff back in the day. But you get to a point where you realize that this stuff is not power and it's not you, and then when it's removed from you and you don't do it, you feel helpless and weak, and then you have to rebuild that. It's not fun. But then you look back on it and kind of see how silly it is that you felt like you needed something like that.
And if I remember right, it's been a couple, maybe a month or two since I watched this, but it was like, this is how the sequence of the sigils ends. It's like a skull, and then a ghost, and then an alien, and then whatever this thing is, and then like a robot. So it's like the symbolism of like the spirit leaving the body, and then external, interdimensional, whatever you want to call it, something else, entering the body to not, what's the word, like control the golem. Yeah, it's like a lifeless golem here, the robot, be controlled by like external spirits.
Yeah, and this is the same thing that I think ties into the symbols. You're giving your power away and yourself away to these things that don't have your best intentions in mind. They're going to make you feel really good for a long time to keep you interacting. But when they're done with you, this is a great example and sequence of how that works.
It's no different than like the communists take over the useful idiots, and that's who it is really. It's the soulless golems that are being controlled by this like Satan archetype, whatever you want to call it. And then at the end of the revolution, they're done with those people, and those are Yuri Bezmenov even said, those are the first people lined up against the wall and shot, because once they figure out what happened to them and how they were used, they're going to be very upset. And they just caused a revolution. They're going to want to cause another one. So they know you're a troublemaker or snitch. So you'll be the first one gone.
Yeah,
and they know you're easily controlled, by an external source. So they don't want you then.
No, and I think it's a good example as well if you want to take it more to a psychological perspective. This is how these type of power plays happen, and it doesn't just have to be in a government or a communist takeover. It can be in your spiritual life as well, or even your job. If you work in a cubicle, you start out like excited about the job and you want to grow, and then slowly you whittle away into this. And it's the same thing with the government that you see now. If you're playing with some type of weird voodoo magic, it's the same thing. You feel really good, you give your power to it, and you deplete and deplete and deplete until you're not even you. You're just like a dead shell version of yourself.
Yeah, you're the husk, and then something else is
controlling you. You're
just the thoughts of the words actually of other people are mobilizing you. Like I talked about on the stream last night, how there's the people that wear cloth mask under the N95, but they don't take the next step to say, okay, I should wear 2 cloth masks and then 2 N95s. But because no one said that externally, but if that voice was reverberating around in their brain, if they saw a meme or some video on Facebook that said that, they would do it. It's just kind of the last little programming that they've taken in is just kind of bouncing around in there like Pong, and that's kind of what animates them.
Yeah, and I think that's what we've talked about before too, is that they're not thinking. They can't think. They can only react. They can only feel stuff and react from that.
Yeah. And then truthers are the same as well, because that's why I like talking to Ben, because what Ben will do a lot of times, shout out to Ben, nightmaredystopia.com, go check him out. And we go live, Benton and I, every Sunday night on D Live, 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 Central. But Ben will like to take these people that say things like Trump tards or whoever, he'll take what they say and just assume it's true, and then take it 2 or 3 more steps and say, okay, what if what you're saying is true? Like, for example, he'll say, well, I got to be careful how I word it because of YouTube, but they'll say, oh, Trump, he was just trying to get the horse paste out there, whatever they call it, right? Like he knew that was the real cure, so that's why he had to do that. And Ben will take it a couple more steps further and say, okay, if that's true, then he's promoting something that costs pennies, and he's trying to like put it out there for millions of dollars profit for these pharmaceutical companies. And then he'll take it, another step or two. But these people will just, truth is no different than this. I feel like it's just a different kind of internet demon that controls them. They're like 1 foot out of the swamp or whatever.
Yeah, it's a different set of thoughts, but the same neural pathway leading you right to it.
Exactly.
Is what it is.
And then they get caught on the same things, but it'll be the opposite. Where there was one I saw yesterday, I showed you, where it was like, oh, Joe Biden made a joke. It was a joke where he was talking about a lady called about a dead dog in her lawn, so he went and moved it on her porch or something like that. Oh. And they were like, can you believe Joe Biden put a dead dog on a lady? They're acting like it's real or something, like he really did that. It was obviously a joke. but when Trump says it, oh man, it's he was just kidding.
And that's just how the mind works. And it's like, I know we've all been this way before, and I have, and you have, but you get like so wrapped up in your beliefs and what you want to be true that you can't see anything else. So you don't even realize that you are the person you hate. Like, exactly. You're the exact type of person you talk about how much you despise this type of person.
Yeah, the same people saying, they say like, oh, COVID people want to put us in a camp. And then they'll be like, oh, all these COVID people, they should be in a camp now because they're shedding. It's like literally 100% the exact same thing.
You're the thing you hate, and you don't know it because you're not willing to admit that you are programmable. You are able to be wrong, be in error. It's that ego we talked about on the first stream, really.
Everyone said they liked the first stream.
Yeah, and thanks to everybody too. I did read the comments and there was a lot of nice feedback. So I never got a chance to respond to any of that, but I did see it, so thank you. Feedback always appreciated.
And they have the full members. Part of this too is like the full members of this Unicode, which made the emojis. And look, you can see all the tech companies in there and everything. And then one of them was like, without playing the video because it'll set off the thing, it's like one of them was like one of the Saudi like royal families or whatever that has a, I don't remember exactly what it is. They tie back to the those goetic sigils or whatever. Go watch it. I'll leave the link. It's really good. But yeah, it's all tech companies, and then this like Saudi royal or whatever it is, like
that doesn't look
some
right.
Middle Eastern like family creating Unicode, and no one questions it. It's probably like all these people get just like obsessed with the internet, and then the internet demon or whatever. Like these people just get like they can't get off the internet. It's like I'm having a hard time even like doing my own streams because I feel like I've said everything that I need to say or shared the knowledge that I have, which is very limited, which any person is limited. Yeah. And I like it more for the chat and kind of interact with the chat.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say, and then there's other people that just continuously crank out, the same type of content, like over and over, that they're more addicted to the uh, internet demon or whatever. The rush of the
It's the interaction.
it's the rush of the dopamine hit. That's what it's all
Yes.
designed for, the dopamine hit of the likes and shares and all that stuff.
And even the messages and the response to messages and all of it, really. The best thing I feel like people can do for themselves right now with that oversaturation is a dopamine fast. Put it away for a long time. Do something else. You'll feel a lot better. But yeah, no, I'm curious for the chat as well, just the opinions on symbols and how they're used. Because I know as well that you can use symbols in a positive way, like I said, and there's nothing really wrong with that. And I guess the thing is just to make sure you're not using it for personal power and like
Hey, my phone.
depleting yourself of your own power and how to learn how to be strong on your own.
Do you remember the name of that book, Oracle Bridge? It always talks about, it's about like how symbols, and then they put I'm gonna ask her real quick. We'll see if she can
ask
respond
her,
on
'cause
time for the well, we're still recording, but if not, I'll put it later. There's a Oracle Bridget always talks about this book, and it has to do with like the intention behind everything. I don't even know enough about it.
Which, yeah, and it's important, but I think there's a point where people get way too involved in these symbols and give them way too much power, way too much of themselves away to it, and it's unnecessary. And it doesn't have to have that kind of a hold on you. There's a point you can get to where this stuff won't even affect you at all. You can just look at it as a neutral thing.
I'm gonna ask Bridget real quick. We'll see if she's able to respond in time. Hey, Oracle Bridget, real quick. I'm with my wife. We're recording a stream about signs and symbols and stuff, or recording a video. What's that book you always recommend about, like the guy that talks about like the intentions behind like signs and sigils? I don't remember exactly what it is, but I know you're always mentioning that book. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay, we'll see if she gets back to us here.
Hopefully, but yeah. And I think they're so ingrained in us at this point, and especially the ones that they peddle in the media and like the codes they peddle in the media and the news and everything that we see constantly every day, that it's so subconscious at this point too.
Oh, like the repetition or what? Like,
Yeah, like the repetition and just, yeah. I completely forgot what I was going to say. Just the symbols themselves, I guess. Kind of like we have the emojis and you can like look at them and see the goetic seals, basically,
Yeah.
and they overlap. And then I think it's been used so much on us, and we have just grown up in that from birth that we don't even think about it, really. But it is like still ingrained in us in some way. And I think it's important to like try to become aware of that and detach from that. And I think the dopamine fast and like getting off the internet for a while, can help with that a lot.
what do you think's behind like the phenomenon, I guess you could call it, where like truthers are like scared of a triangle or something, and all of a sudden like a triangle is evil, or anyone someone said pizza, like, oh my, can you believe this guy said pizza? Like,
Oh, see, the phenomena of that to me is you subconsciously, like I said, like I'm not blaming anybody for it because I've done it, you've done it, we've all done it somewhere.
I was huge into Pizzagate for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think it's because we give ourselves away to these things constantly. We give it a piece of ourselves. We're giving it our emotional reaction. And in that way, it attaches itself to us. And then it becomes something bigger in your head. And then you do have all these conspiracies that at this point I believe a lot of them are laid out for you to find and get entrenched in. And then you get attached to the symbols, and they have put the intent behind the symbol for so long. And you have like a million people that are all thinking the same thing about the same subject. And I think you get entangled in that with all these people kind of like in unison in like a spiritual sense as well. Because I think that about like the soul, I think your soul is always like moving. Your body sleeps, your soul's always moving. So it's like this network, I guess, in a sense. Um, and then, yeah, I mean, that's what it is. I think it just rewires your brain, like your neural pathways to react. And you're not thinking about why you're afraid of it or you hate it or it's evil. It's just what it is to you, you know. But it's not true. I mean, like I said, these things, the people using them did not invent these symbols. They've been taken from other places and put together in different ways and presented to you in this way that it's like, yeah, look at this. It's an evil triangle with an eye. And then anybody that has an eye or like, you know,
triangle,
this made
or
me
if they-
laugh. My profile picture, I have like one, you can see one of my eyes, and then people say like, oh, yeah, obviously you're shady because of that picture. And then I saw a woman in your comment said this, like somebody said the same thing to her. Yeah.
Yeah, it becomes like, oh, I learned this one thing. It's like, I know everything. Like, oh, you show one eye, so I've already cast judgment on you. I know you.
Yeah, that's...
I know who you work for now. Or like,
yeah,
you learned this little like set of surface layer symbols, and now you like gotta show everyone that you know this or whatever.
Yeah, if you're at that point, I'm sorry, but you've 100% been tricked and flipped upside down. You gotta undo that. That's no way to like live, being like so entrenched in something that you're gonna react in that way to just seeing an image.
Yeah, and then that's what we're talking about too, where I said they're not thinking, they're not wearing two masks underneath two N95, so they're reacting. It's no different than the topic, like in the news cycle last, or like it was like last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever. Like the N word, you know, like
Yeah.
these people are like obviously if you went up and said that to the wrong person, they would react and like punch you or attack you or something like that. It's no different than the way that you've been trained on the triangle is evil or the one eye is evil. But like Ben likes to point out, if you go up to someone and say the N, if you say literally just the N word, I don't mean the actual word itself, but you say the N word, then they won't attack you, even though it means 100% the same thing. It's a 100% exact meaning.
It's just
like
presented to you packaged in a different way.
one you say the N word, another one you say, you know, the hard R. You actually say it.
Yeah.
It means the same thing. So if you went up to somebody and said, "You are this," they'd rage. But if you said, "You are an N word," they'd probably look at you weird because they've been trained and programmed to react that way. And it's no different than like the truther training of, oh, this eye is evil, this triangle is evil, or whatever.
Like,
and there's a lot of all that stuff that does have like intention behind it. Who's that person that you always listen to, the lady, and then she talks about like she's always like praying in her house, so her house is like filled with like prayer on the walls and stuff. What is her name? And like that black lady.
That's Dr. Cindy Trim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the same kind of thing where you could you could create your own like intentions or whatever. You could use prayer and then.
Oh man, yeah, I'm all about that. Don't use this stuff. Even if it's like presented to you in a positive way, make your own like way to do that. Your own words, your own intentions and thoughts. That's way more powerful. That comes from you in your personal inner life and spirit. Like that's, yeah, I agree with that.
And you could probably walk into that lady's house just from the way she talks about it. You could probably feel that energy.
There have been houses I've walked into that have felt like that, and then some houses you walk into feel
The
like
opposite,
ominous and just bad for some reason. So I think it's real.
Yeah,
Like something obviously is happening on like a, how would you say it, like a spiritual level, but also on a mental level as well. Like you can feel it, you can sense
You're
it.
able to detect it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's thick. The air could be thick. Or even if you go to prayer, or I mean, like church, and you know the vibration or whatever, for lack of a better word, of the energy, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Of when that's going on, you know, and the pastor's moving the people or whatever, and everyone's touched, and you can feel it, and versus the exact opposite, like like we saw that lady tonight. You could just look at her. It's like she was possessed by a demon. It was some like beggar on an off ramp, and it was like
Oh,
it looked like she was going through like withdrawals or something. It was like it
very
looked like
sad.
a
Yeah.
demon just writhing around. And
Yeah.
I mean, so versus the how the church would feel after prayer. Like imagine her house. Let's imagine she even has a house, but like if you walked inside of her house, how that would feel.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom's house was like that. You could walk in and like feel the misery right away.
Why?
Well, I mean, she was an addict. She struggled with that, so that's another story. But
Yeah.
you could feel that there was something very off when you walked in. The second you walked in, the second the air hits you. So, yeah, that's an interesting thing too. I think that's something a lot of people can like vouch for. So, obviously, it's something.
It's got to be like some.
But that's why you have to learn how to take your power back and not let that stuff infiltrate you.
Yeah, because if you did walk into that environment, if you're not like grounded, you could get swept up in that.
Yeah, let's say you walk into it and you've already had a really bad day or depressed, you're going to be susceptible, you know. But
Yeah.
these things don't have to affect you. I mean, you can disengage. You have to disengage at a certain point. Like, I know the internet can be fun and addicting because it is that dopamine hit. Just take a step back from
like
it.
the conspiracy, like Bob Saget, or it's like there's constantly. I talked about that last night. There's constantly a new conspiracy with every single celebrity death, and it's like
Oh,
before it was like Bob Saget was Pizzagate, and Ashley and Michelle Olsen's they're showing pictures of him like getting too touchy feely with them as kids and everything, and he was like basically like a pedo. They were saying, and now that he's dead, though, all of a sudden it's like, oh, we saw that article we were checking out at the grocery store. There's like a People magazine or something that said America's Dad, and it
Yeah,
showed
yeah.
him. I was like, hold on, this dude was just like
yeah.
a Pizzagate guy like a month ago or whatever. But that's how they get you on that roller coaster on the internet, the drama roller coaster.
And that's what it is too. Exactly what you said. It's an emotional roller coaster. You spend your emotions all day on articles you see online, on TV shows, on even music at times, which I love music. I'm not hating on that in any sense. But we just spend all of our emotions all day on these like things that are pretty much coming from a screen. And then when you get to your real life, it feels bland and gray because you've spent yourself all day on this thing. And then you have nothing left for like yourself or your relationships or your job if you're really into your job.
Yeah, and it's got to be like a form of like a psychological torture or something to get you to, like I was saying, like for example, the truther that's just like, he breathes, sleeps, all these like breaking stories, and then last year they were saying, man, Bob Saget, can you believe it? And now they've socially engineered them a year later to say, oh man, can you believe the Illuminati took him out, or whatever the story is.
He
I don't
was
know.
gonna talk.
Yeah, because I haven't even really
Yeah.
read the story, but I do
No.
see that the bait in the headlines, and it's like I think part of it is like the wizards or whatever you want to call it, the people that like control the media, that they want to bring you from that emotional roller coaster from, oh, I can't believe what scum this guy is. I thought he was a good guy. Watching him growing up. Now he's scum. And now that he's dead, now it's back to, oh, can you believe it? They killed him. He was a hero.
Yes. They're keeping him
And
alive in that sense.
I think they kind of get off on that, like the playing these people like a puppet on a string or whatever, and with just this thing. Me personally, I don't give an F about Bob Saget, alive or dead. No offense. Like, yeah, I watched Full House, but
Well, that's the thing. They get you emotionally invested in people you've never met before.
yeah,
People that know nothing of you.
and people that don't care about you or don't even know you exist.
And you hear people say, yeah, I cried when, what was her name? Betty White died.
Yeah.
I didn't cry at my own grandmother's funeral, but I cried when Betty White died. See, that's a problem. That means you've spent all of your real emotions on fantasy and you have nothing left for your real life. You have nothing left for your loved ones. That's why you're unhappy. That's why you think about wanting a different life. Oh, maybe it's the life that's the problem. It's like the family or the job that's the problem. You don't realize where the real problem's coming from. And it's coming from spending yourself on these fantasy things. Or even if it's not fantasy, like let's say, oh, what if it is real? Okay, what do you get out of being right about it? What do you get? What if we find out Bob Saget was going to talk and reveal all these secrets? How does that affect you and what you're doing?
Then you were right.
And that's all you get. Oh,
Yeah.
you were right. Okay. Are you still depressed in your own personal life? Yeah, you're still miserable. It's still falling apart. Then what does it do for you?
Yeah, I agree. It seems like the truther stuff, it's like a big just time suck and time sink and like we're saying here, emotional harvest basically, and like
Yes.
puppeteering, and they want to just see how they can get these people that are even, they probably really genuinely are smarter than like the average normie, that are at least thinking a little bit, and then the ability to control these people too. Everything to me is like a data harvest, and they want to see, they're running simulations, and they can
Yeah.
see if you blow the way they predict.
Yeah, and it's an experiment. It's always been a social experiment from the beginning. And who knows how many years that's been. It might have been since way longer than any of us can even fathom.
Oh yeah, way longer, I would
Yeah,
say.
I believe so. I believe that's why all these symbols were created in the first place and put together in the way that they were. I don't think they've necessarily changed what they mean, but just kind of changed shape and form over time and repurpose.
I like Vat City had a good one recently. Actually, Vat City's just been killing it lately. I think because he's sober, and he's But he was basically did a long video, but the short of the video was go follow Vat City for Vat_City, and he basically said that like all these demonic, sell your soul, or these what we're talking about here, sigils and all that, is basically all just different ways to say just lie,
Yeah.
lie and cheat and like take advantage of people.
Yeah.
That's all you really have. It's all.
It's about imposing your will on somebody else. You're trying to pretty much infringe on their free will, get somebody to bend in the way you want them to.
Yeah, and if you're willing to lie enough, and then if you're willing to go as far as to like kill someone to cover your tracks and everything, you basically will get whatever you want, right? Eventually, until you
Yes.
get caught.
Yes. Yeah.
And so that's like the ultimate trick to to be evil, or whatever was one of his recent videos. He had another good one the other day about, I think it was yesterday, about the Mandela effect. He called it the Mandoodle effect. And I was disagreeing with him at first because I think it's just you see things differently because your perception is different now. You've expanded your perception, so when you see a movie, you see different things in it. And that's where he went with it at the end of the thing. I was like, okay, yeah, I do agree with that.
Yeah.
But he was saying like you could even get a group of people that are like what do you call them? Like is wayfarer? Is that the word? I don't know if that's the right word I'm looking for. Like people that are kind of like ahead of the pack or whatever, to go out and try to experiment with different ways of like living and thinking, and you would be living in a different kind of world if you could. Basically, it would be like kind of what an ascended master would have taught people. It's people that would go out and learn a different way to think and decode the reality.
Oh, yeah. See, I didn't see the video. That's interesting,
yeah,
though,
no,
because we've only been taught to think one way, really, since birth.
Yeah.
So we don't know anything else. We don't know even what other possibilities there would be.
Yeah, so shout out to Vat City, but then the elites or whatever, they learned all kinds of different things, like you look at where we're at now, you eat off a paper plate and you eat with a plastic spoon or whatever, right? They're eating on, like, they have gold utensils and all that. There's got to be a reason for that. It's like you put that gold in your mouth, you're basically probably like microdosing this gold all day throughout your life, and you're putting plastic in your mouth.
Yeah.
You're microdosing this little plastic, like probably just microscopic bits of it kind of go into you. And that's why people had silverware back in the day, and that was like antibacterial, and now you don't even have that. What is it, like made out of like nickel now, if that
Yeah.
or whatever.
Well, yeah, that's them just trying to completely invert your human nature.
Exactly.
Get you to do these nasty, weird, bizarre things that we don't even think of as nasty, weird, and bizarre because that's how we grew up.
I heard another one. I'm not gonna remember it right now, since we got to do it on one take. I'm not gonna look it up, but it was something like in the royal, like the queen's house or whatever. They're not allowed to like, I don't know what it was like, kill the animal or like a lobster, or whatever in the house. They got to do that outside of the house or whatever and bring it in. It was something that wasn't it, but it was something along those lines. But I was like, okay, there's a reason for that, and those people know that, and then we
Mm.
don't know that. Like the same, we saw that video. We saw a video on YouTube of a monkey, and he opened the banana for its little chimp,
Oh
and then it
yeah.
peeled like those strings that are on the outside of the
Yes.
banana. It peeled all those off before it fed it to the monkey, and I was like, okay, there's a reason he did that. Maybe we're not supposed to eat those strings. I don't know. I don't think it's bad for you, but there must be a reason he did that.
Yeah, that's interesting. That was very interesting.
But I think it's the same thing with like the people you'd call the elites. They probably know all kinds of little, just tiny little things like that that are actually inconsequential, but they probably add up over a lifetime. Just these
Yeah.
tiny little tiny things.
That's kind of the same concept of everything you do matters. Like if you even think it doesn't matter or it doesn't affect anything, even if nobody sees you do it, it matters. And it affects something somewhere because everything is connected in a way.
So how can these people, let's say they're sucked into the everyday conspiracy, but they can't get out? How? What would you suggest to them besides anything else besides like a social media dopamine detox? Anything besides that?
Yeah, I guess so. I think that's important though. You are gonna need that. I think
I think it
you
went.
kind of.
Sorry, real quick. It just
Mm-hmm.
went from me from the TV. I watched the TV. I don't think I watched it as much as everyone else, though. But I obviously I watched TV, and then there came a point where I just turned the TV off and I went to only the internet and like basically downloading information.
Yeah.
Like, and then I think these people need to like take the next step to it and like get off, just like we quit the TV.
Yeah.
Gotta kind of quit the internet.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the final step of it, but I think an important thing you can do to kind of back away from it is find interests outside of it. Like, what do you like to do? Do you like to do outside activities? Do you like hiking? Find out things about yourself. Do you like art? Do you like to make music? Do you like to draw? Can you immerse yourself in that? Do you
Definitely
like
go
reading
outside.
books?
Yeah.
Not books on the screen, like a real book, and you pick up a book. That type of thing I think is important for people to have some type of outlet outside of a screen, no matter what it is. I think that's important. And then to kind of figure out like why you're so engrossed in it and why you feel like you need to look at it all the time, because there is a reason why you feel drawn to look at it constantly. It's doing something for you emotionally and chemically inside of you. And like, I think it's important to maybe pray about that, meditate on that, and figure out what that is.
You want to talk about like you said, your mom was a true crime addict.
Yeah, she was.
What do you think about people that get obsessed with that kind of stuff?
Now, there's a kind of like a psychological undercurrent of that people who are really obsessed with, because I'm going to say, like, there's a lot of people that are obsessed with the true crime and the serial killers, and they'll
And horror
watch
movies.
100 documentaries about Jeffrey Dahmer, all these people. My mom was one of those. Like, that station was on 24/7 in the house, and then
The
when
ID
she
or
went to
whatever.
bed, she would take her phone and put it on to fall asleep watching people being murdered, and that's she'd fall asleep to it. And I've known like people like that, like some of my friends growing up kind of got into that as well. And I can notice that all of them held a lot of guilt, like personal guilt. And I think watching like atrocities and watching people be pursued and caught, kind of like Joe Kenda, there he is, like the
I
cat
don't
and
even know
mouse.
who that is.
A lot, yeah.
Homicide
my,
hunter.
my mom was a fan. But watching the cat and mouse game, you kind of see yourself, like you're pursuing yourself in it and what you've done and the stuff that you refuse to admit or confess. and you kind of get a sense of satisfaction out of watching people be caught, and it's like a sigh of relief, like, okay, there's justice. So I think it comes from, you've done something bad. You've done something wrong. You've done something you're holding on to that you feel guilty about.
What about the idea that it's called the ID channel, and then it's like your psychological id? Yeah.
I like that.
The id
because the id is the animal.
Yeah, the unconscious.
The id is the animal.
Energy that works to satisfy basic urges, needs, and desires. And then they got you watching it, and it's called ID channel.
Based off of your subconscious, yeah, because subconsciously you're trying to find justice, really pursuing yourself, because you need to confess something. You need to say something because you've done something. A lot of women I've noticed that get into it, like friends I've had personally, and like, yeah, hi, sorry, I kind of talk quiet.
The true crime moms, basically.
Yeah, the true crime moms. A lot of true crime moms I've noticed, like, the commonality is that they've had an abortion. Personal friends I've known, family I've known, I've noticed that.
So if you watch Investigation Discovery, you've had an abortion. You've heard it here first.
All of you know. No,
100%.
Obviously that's not what I mean. I know somebody might take it that way, but no, that's not what I mean. It can be anything. And I think that can manifest in a lot of ways. It's just, I think when you get obsessed with the crime and the death and all the murders, I think you're holding on to something horrible that you need to let go of. Because it's not normal. I mean, it's interesting, don't get me wrong. Like, it's very interesting to read about the psychology behind, like, killers and criminal psychology. It's all very interesting. I like to read about it. But it's a little different when you get to the point where it's like, this is what you watch and consume all day, and you do
24/7.
Yeah, that's different. I'm not talking about research. I'm talking about when you're obsessed with it. And it's, yeah, all
I
you
don't know.
consume.
I've never watched this. I don't know what any of this is.
I know all these people. Not because I watched it. I would just
Is it like
there when
the
it was
first
on,
48
really.
kind of type thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
and like,
the people that create this too know, like, whatever the exact demographic they're looking for. They probably know exactly what we're talking about. There's a reason why they want to watch this, and then they cater it to it.
and I want to say, mostly women get into this. Not that men don't, because they do, and there are men that, get kind of caught in that same habit. But I've noticed a large majority of the serial killer obsession and, like, the crime obsession is women. I don't know if that's something you've noticed or, like, other people as well, but personally for me, that's what I've observed.
Yeah, I think so. Anything else you wanted to get into?
Yeah.
Oracle Bridget didn't get back yet, so when she messages me back and says there's a great book she recommends, I haven't read it yet, and I mean to, but it sounds super interesting. I will definitely put it as like a pinned comment or in the description of the video it has to do with like intention behind sigils and things like that. So
Yeah.
if you want to know more about that, I'll put that link, whatever, somewhere. You'll see it if you look.
Cool. Also, a book that kind of illustrates this, I can, like, shout out to, because that's Dostoevsky, the Russian author. Crime and Punishment kind of goes along the same themes of what this is. Like, it's kind of it's a murder book, basically.
It's a nonfiction, or it's a...
No, it's fiction. Like, it's characters. But basically, and Dostoevsky was, like, great at illustrating psychology, and I read him a ton in high school. But yeah, this is a great book for that type of thing, I think. So yeah, if you have read this book, I guess, like, what's your opinion on it, or
Yeah, leave a comment.
what'd you gather from it? Because it is like that whole cat and mouse thing the entire time, and it's like the murderer is kind of trying to get caught. And there's, like, points in the book where he's, like, really, really trying to get caught. And because he's, like, wanting to tell on himself, but he's also, like, repressing it at the same time. It's a cool book.
Yeah, it's like they know it's wrong and they want it to stop, right?
Exactly. And at the end, that is what happens. Like, he does finally confess, and he gets sent to, like, the Siberia camp in the end, and he does...
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Sorry. My bad. But no, it's good. It's just that whole idea of you've done something, you're repressing it, and you want to be caught, but you act like you don't, but you really do. Just for that sake of justice.
Facts. What do you want to talk about next week? You got any ideas?
I don't. It's
Okay,
gonna have to just come to me.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. And then in the meantime, we're gonna make sure all the toilet paper rolls are over, or we'll take a vote. So you guys let us know in the comments if it's over or under. That's the real thing that we need to get to the bottom of here. Forget why truthers are programmed. The real burning question in our heart of hearts is over or under.
Let's hear it.
The toilet paper. All right, man. Thanks everyone that was in here, and look in the comments, and I'll leave some other links, and follow Ben and I tomorrow night and every Sunday night on D Live at 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 Central. I'll do my own live streams every Friday night on the Chalk Body Outline YouTube channel, and hopefully this becomes a weekly thing every Saturday night, pre-recorded, so you can spend the whole weekend with me on YouTube and D Live Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah, no problem. And we'll see you guys next week, hopefully, if everything goes good. And as always, I appreciate your time, and peace out.